Imagine you were born in an open-world game called Earth Online. You are diligent, intelligent, and you work 12 hours a day. Your goal is simple: save some money, buy a house, and live a decent life. But in the background code, invisible to you, there is a hidden setting. You aren't playing the game. You are working for the server administrator. This isn't just about who has more money or who has more guns. Today, in 2026, when we look back at the past 80 years of history, we find that the US hasn't been competing, it has been operating. This system is designed so precisely that even when the US faces a $38 trillion national debt, political fracture, and even an inflation rebound in 2026, global capital still flees frantically like a flock of startled birds into this burning house that is America. Why? Because other than here, you have nowhere else to go. Today, we aren't talking about ethereal GDP figures. We are going to deconstruct the 5 lines of source code of the US as the Earth Server Administrator. Are you ready? We are about to enter the underlying logic. If nation-building were SimCity, then the US has practically maxed out all its initial attribute points. If you've heard before that the Mississippi River is a natural conveyor belt, that is only half the story. In 2026, this line of code has been upgraded. It's no longer just about grain transport, but about industrial survival rights. Look at the world now. Europe is undergoing painful de-industrialization, and Asia is anxious about energy security. But the US? As of 2026, the US still sits firmly on the throne of the world's largest oil producer, with daily production maintained at a historic high of 13.5 million barrels. This leads to a brutal price scissors effect. While German factories are forced to close due to soaring natural gas prices, energy in Texas is as cheap as tap water. This isn't just selling resources. This is sucking the manufacturing blood of competitors from the physical layer. Even more extreme is the climate dividend. As the Earth warms and countries near the equator struggle with heat and drought, the vast temperate zone of the North American continent has become the final arc. In this version, the US is not just a country, it is a self-sufficient fortress. It can live very well without the world, but without the food and energy it provides, the world would fall into famine and blackouts. This is the administrator's confidence. I can pull the network cable, but I still have power to play. Many people think dollar hegemony exists because oil must be bought with dollars. That is old news from the last century. In 2026, the real cheat code is: the underlying protocol of global finance is built upon US debt. This sounds crazy, right? If you owe the bank $1 million, you can't sleep. If you owe the bank $38 trillion, the bank can't sleep. But the US's strategy is, it has turned the whole world into its bank. This involves the eurodollar system. To put it simply, global trade needs not only money, but also collateral. When doing big business internationally, no one trusts your real estate, and no one trusts your Bitcoin. The only security deposit instantly accepted by all banks is US Treasury bonds. This means the world isn't just using dollars. The world is renting usage rights to the dollar credit system. Remember when Russia was kicked out of SWIFT in 2022? That was the beta version. By 2026, this financial nuclear button has become normalized. If you don't obey, the administrator can not only ban your account, but also wipe your game save, that is, your foreign exchange reserves, directly to zero. What we see is not just currency, but a mandatory membership subscription service. You want to participate in global trade? Please buy US debt as an entry ticket first. This leads to an absurd cycle. The US frantically prints money to buy the world's goods, and the world makes money only to be forced to lend it back to the US. This isn't just an infinite money glitch anymore. It's an infinite debt black hole. According to the latest projections from the Congressional Budget Office, the federal deficit in 2026 will reach $1.9 trillion. In any other country, this would be a precursor to bankruptcy. But in the US, it's just a system maintenance fee. Previously, when we spoke of US military hegemony, we looked at how many aircraft carriers they had. But in 2026, the real killer moves are no longer iron hulls on the sea surface, but space overhead and silicon chips on the desk. Look at TSMC's factory in Arizona. Equipment installation for the second fab will officially start in the second half of 2026, with mass production targets set for 2027. This isn't just moving a factory. This is physically moving the computing brain back to the North American fortress. In the AI era, computing power is the new oil, and the US controls the shovels to dig for this oil, namely GPU design, and the refineries, namely the control rights over advanced manufacturing processes. This is the latest computing Iron Curtain. If the US used to control oil by blockading the Strait of Malacca with its navy, now it blocks the flow of data through export controls. This is more efficient than aircraft carriers. The administrator doesn't need to send troops. He only needs to modify a line of code in the backend to ban specific IP addresses from accessing the latest AI models or buying H200 chips. What is the result? It's not that your computer gets slower, but that your country is physically locked out of the evolutionary speed of artificial intelligence. When the opponent is thinking with nuclear fusion-level AI, you can only use steam engine-level computing power. This isn't competition. This is a dimensionality reduction attack. This is the cruelest line of code. In this server, the distribution of intellectual resources is random. Einstein could be born anywhere. However, the US has developed an extremely efficient harvesting algorithm. Other countries bear the upbringing costs for 20 years: education, healthcare, infrastructure. But when these finest human CPUs are ready to start computing and producing value, the US uses high salaries, green cards, and top-tier laboratories to directly complete the fruit picking. Look at the list of tech giant CEOs in 2026, and look at the list of researchers in top AI labs. You will find that the US is using the brains of the whole world to think about America's problems. This isn't just a brain drain, it is a future drain. We are essentially letting developing countries pay the human R&D costs for the US, while the US is only responsible for receiving the free, finished products. Speaking of this, you might think this administrator is invincible, but all programs have bugs, and the US cheat codes are backfiring on itself. Although US economic data in 2026 still looks strong, CBO data reveals a terrifying trend. US interest payments have started to exceed the defense budget. Please stop and think about what this means. For every penny paid by US taxpayers, the biggest use is no longer building aircraft carriers, nor repairing roads or education, but paying the interest on old debts. This is the interest spiral. This country is acting like a gambler who opens new credit cards to pay off the interest on old ones. Even more frightening is the internal code conflict. Although wealth flows in continuously, it does not flow to the ordinary player 001, but stagnates in the top-level servers. This leads to extreme social division. History tells us there are no eternal administrators. When the cost of maintaining the system exceeds the benefits the system brings, users will start looking for alternatives. Mexico has replaced China as the US's largest trading partner, Supply chains are restructuring, and the world is fragmenting. We might not see the US collapse overnight, but we are witnessing it transform from the sole administrator into the largest local area network. The game continues. If you are player 001, in this world where the administrator is already set, will you choose to obey the rules and join them, or try to build your own private server? Tell me your choice in the comments section. If you want to understand the underlying code of this world, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you next time.